Have you ever felt like you were finally making a real connection with someone, only for them to suddenly vanish? Everything is going great, the chemistry is there, the conversations are deep, and then, out of nowhere, the wall goes up. They stop texting as much, they become busy with work, or they suddenly start picking apart your smallest flaws. In the world of psychology, this isn't just a streak of bad luck. It's a very specific pattern known as the dismissive avoidant attachment style. Today, we're doing a deep dive into the mind of the person who runs when things get good. We'll look at why they do it, the secret shame they carry, and how, if you are one or love one, you can actually start to bridge that gap. To understand the dismissive avoidant, we have to start at the very beginning. Attachment theory tells us that the way our caregivers responded to us as infants creates a blueprint for how we handle love as adults. For the dismissive avoidant, that blueprint was often drawn in a house of emotional silence. These were the children who, when they cried, were told to tough it out. When they were excited, they were met with, "That's nice, but I'm busy." They learned very early on that expressing a need for comfort was a losing game. It either led to rejection or it just went ignored. So, they did the only logical thing a child can do to survive. They stopped needing. They built a fortress of self-reliance. Their internal mantra became, "I am the only person I can truly depend on." This isn't just independence, it's a survival strategy. Fast forward to adulthood, and this person looks like the ultimate success story. They are often incredibly self-sufficient, high-achieving, and seemingly bulletproof. They value their freedom above all else. But here's where the trouble starts in relationships. To a dismissive avoidant, intimacy feels like a threat to that freedom. When someone gets too close, their subconscious alarm system goes off. It screams, "You're going to be controlled. You're going to be trapped. They're going to see that you aren't perfect and then they'll leave anyway." This leads to what psychologists call deactivation. Think of it like a circuit breaker. When the emotional current gets too high, meaning things get too intimate, the DA flips the switch. Suddenly, they feel numb. They might tell themselves, "I'm just not that into them anymore," or, "They're actually kind of annoying." They use these thoughts to create the distance they need to feel safe again. One of the most heartbreaking parts of this style is the core wound. On the surface, a DA might seem arrogant or even cold, but deep down, there is a profound sense of shame. Their primary core wound is, "I am defective," because their emotional needs weren't met as kids. They didn't think, "My parents are busy," they thought, "There must be something wrong with me." They spend their adult lives hiding that defect behind a wall of logic and stoicism. This is why criticism is their biggest trigger. If you tell a DA, "You never spend time with me," they don't hear a request for love. They hear, "You are failing. You are defective." Their response isn't to lean in. It's to shut down or lash out to protect that fragile inner child. This often leads to the anxious avoidant trap. It's the most common dynamic in relationship psychology. An anxious partner feels the DA pulling away and responds by leaning in harder, texting more, asking for more talks, demanding more closeness. To the DA, this feels like an invasion. It reinforces their fear of being engulfed or trapped. The more the anxious partner chases, the faster the avoidant runs. It's a tragic cycle where both people are just trying to feel safe. But their methods of finding safety are completely opposite. The avoidant needs space to regulate their nervous system, while the anxious person needs closeness to regulate theirs. Without understanding these blueprints, the relationship usually ends in a blindside breakup where the DA leaves abruptly because they just can't take the pressure anymore. You might also see something called the Phantom X phenomenon. This is a classic deactivating strategy. The dismissive avoidant will idealize a past partner or a perfect future person who doesn't exist. By pining for someone who isn't there, they have an excuse to keep the person who is there at arm's length. "You're great, but you're just not like Sarah." They might think. It's a way to stay in love, without the actual vulnerability of a real-time relationship. It's safe because the phantom can't hurt them or demand anything from them. It's a wall built out of memories and what-ifs. So, is there hope? Can a dismissive avoidant change? The answer is a resounding yes. But it requires what's called earned secure attachment. If you recognize yourself in this description, the first step is building emotional literacy. You've spent a lifetime suppressing your feelings. You have to learn to name them again. When you feel that urge to run, stop and ask, am I actually bored? Or am I just scared? For partners of DOS, the key is the softened startup. Instead of saying, you always ignore me, try, I feel a bit disconnected lately, and I'd love to just spend 30 minutes hanging out, no heavy talk. Lowering the pressure and respecting their need for autonomy actually makes them feel safe enough to come closer on their own. Ultimately, the journey for a dismissive avoidant is about realizing that vulnerability isn't a weakness. It's the price of admission for a meaningful life. You don't have to be a fortress. You don't have to do it all alone. Deep down, every human being is wired for connection, even the ones who have spent decades convincing themselves they don't need it. If you found this helpful, or if you've dealt with this pattern in your own life, leave a comment below. Let's start a conversation, gently. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more deep dives into the psychology of how we love. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.